1 in 20 people has been a victim of crime, which means that 19 out of 20 people are criminals. No wonder we need police. Time has existed since before time began, and today it's all around us, on our phones, in the corner of the news. But once upon a time, if you wanted the time, then you had to come here, to the headquarters of time, Greenwich Clock Museum. You have to ask the question, are we looking at the computers or are the computers looking at us? Even though the answer to that question is obvious, it sounds spooky. Police tried to stop crime, but couldn't exist without it. If there was no crime, what would they do? Except spend all day putting addresses on bikes with that hammer. If no one's going to steal those bikes, that's just decorating. Even though it's obviously just boring today, the origin of species was the biggest sensation of its age, thanks to the twist ending in which Darwin revealed everyone on the planet had been made out of monkey meat all along. It caused a battle between science and the church that still rages today, although you apparently don't see them fighting like this because it's only a metaphorical battle. Increasingly these days, money isn't something you can hold in your hand or bite on like a pirate because it's stored in the imaginations of computers. Money's all stored in computers these days, isn't it? Yeah. How does a computer know what money looks like? How does it know?
Well, how does it recognise anything? How does a computer recognise, you know,
So you don't know?
It's, you know in principle, but you don't know in detail, no.
Do you know what I think's happened? Someone's told a computer what money looks like. They've gone up to a computer and they've said, this is like a £5 note. And then that computer's told the others. Bon Jovi sung about bad medicine. I think we're going to look at a clip of that now.
Right. Don't
worry, if you can just nod your head as if you've seen the clip. So, was that medically accurate?
No, it wasn't.
For years, we've asked questions like, is there a meaning to life? How did those shoes get in my fridge? And most weird of all, how am I thinking these things? When you think about it, thinking about thinking is the hardest sort of thinking there is, which makes you think. Churchill was sort of out of shape, wasn't he? Like he was quite overweight and he drank and smoked a lot. He couldn't even climb a ladder, could he? How good a role model do you think he was, really?
I think he would find it difficult.
I mean, if you don't look at the fact that he won the war.
And indeed, before the war came along, he'd been out of office for 10 years. So, politically, he was in the wilderness.
What was he doing in the wilderness?
It's a metaphor. He was not in the government, he was on the Conservative backbenches.
Why did they have the backbenches in the wilderness?
The wilderness is a reference to the fact that he's not in office.
This is the famous Greenwich Merillion line, named after the band Marillion, who were named after this line. Every day that's ever happened starts exactly here, coming out of that time transmitter and running along this metal line on the ground. That's why this is the only place in the world where I can be in the past and the future, with the present running right up through my middle bits. The first question is who or what is Churchill? The answer is who. If men were women, do you think they'd have been better at doing feminism than we are?
I don't think men would be any better than women are at putting forward the feminist case.
They're always thinking about sex, aren't they?
Like a lot of people, they're thinking about how to pay their mortgages, how to put food on the table. There are lots of questions to fill up everybody's daily lives.
So they're just like us, really, aren't they? They've got their own little personalities.
I think they have, and some of those personalities are a lot littler than other personalities, but there's certainly a very, very rich range of them.
Yeah. I'm talking about climate change. 19 centuries ago, there was an industrial revolution which used coals. Coals is a fossil fuel, which means setting fire to dinosaurs. It's this dirty dinosaur gas which has been blamed for climate change. What's more, so many dinosaurs were burned for steam trains that nowadays there's almost no dinosaurs left. What is a building?
A building is anything that anyone has built.
So my shoes are a building?
There may not be a building, they're a physical object. I guess a building is also something that people in some way live in or inhabit.
Right. Will there ever come a time where we need 2 mouses to work a computer?
I don't think so. I think it's more likely that there'll be a time when you don't need any mouses. Things are moving now towards touchscreens, gesture recognition, brain-computer interfaces.
So what's that?
It's where you can sense, to an extent, what someone is thinking.
Like Darren Brown?
Not as well as that.
Right.
Well, not yet, anyway.
Paul McKenna?
You might be able to make the cursor, say, the mouse pointer go left or right.
Just by thinking, go right?
Yeah, that's about where the technology is.
But how can it do that? How will it know? I don't understand.
It's possible to get some information about what your brain is doing by things like encephalograms done in the hospital.
What?
Encephalograms.
Say it again.
Encephalograms.
Say it again.
Encephalograms.
Right.
So you can get some information about what your thoughts are doing through that kind of interface, which maybe means you're sticking electrodes on your head at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's early days.
That's amazing, isn't it? Would you get one of those?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? But what is rules? A rules is basically a collection of laws. The first example being the 10 Commandments, which were left on a hill by God. Many of those laws, killing, gravity, and the one about not interfering with oxes, are still used today, even though God's dead. For thousands of years, man has been getting better, thanks to one single thing: medicines. Medicines means we can treat everything from made-up diseases like the plague to modern epidemics like allergicness to bread. The ancient Egyptians thought that onions were medicine, but they're not. They literally didn't know they're onions, and that's where we get the phrase from. Of course, today we now know that onions are not a medicine. Onions are disgusting. But not everyone thinks climate change is real. This hot topic has split the science community straight down the middle, 90-10. To hear both sides of this debate once and for all, I found one climate expert. Good afternoon. What are you?
My name's Andy Watson. I'm a marine, atmospheric and climate scientist.
How does weather actually work? And if you could make it snappy, because it's going to be on iPlayer.
Well, the atmosphere is constantly in motion. This motion means that you get winds if the air is rising.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to be a bit more snappy.
You get rain, you get snow.
Snappy. In one word.
Energy.
Energy, yeah. So, what is clocks? Clocks was invented by the ancient Mesopotamians in ancient Mesopotamian times, but they didn't know it were ancient Mesopotamian times because there were no clocks to see what the times was. How did Winston Churchill come to invent Tipp-Ex?
Well, he didn't.
In the olden days, if someone did something wrong, there was nothing you could do except form a mob with your neighbours and hunt them down and kill them. But today, we've got one other option, thanks to Sir Robert Peel, who in 1829 discovered the police, here on a spot marked today by a ceremonial wind turbine. Once the police had been invented, victims of crime knew who to ask for help because of their special hats, designed to be visible at a distance by people being murdered in the London fog. They say that laughter's the best medicine, but if that were true, why do so many comedians die of cancer? Perhaps they weren't funny enough. It's a sobering thought, and that's useful because many comedians are also alcoholics. Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be asking, where did these robots come from?